See, there we go. Hello, and welcome to these middle grade magic reading sprints. I'm here with Kelly.
Hello.
And do you want to introduce yourself to start us off?
Sure. I'm Kelly. My channel's Cozy Reader Kelly, and that's what I am on all the things, Twitter and Instagram and everything. I read a lot of different things, but I read a lot of middle grade, especially like younger stuff with my kids. My daughter's like running around, so she might pop in and out and make noise and all that stuff while we're reading.
Very suited for middle grade magic reading sprints.
Yes.
And I'm Olivia Savannah from Olivia's Catastrophe. You're here on this channel, and I think Cara might pop in from Wild Book Garden at some point, but I'll leave links to both Kelly's and Cara's channel down below. But thank you for joining us. If you're joining us for reading sprints, say hi, let us know what you're reading, whether you're reading middle grade or something else, or if you're doing productivity sprints in this time, do let me know. Do let us know what you're up to. But yeah. How's the readathon going for you so far, Kelly?
Good. I mean, I'm very like distracted lately because we're doing this all new schedule because my little one that's running around and making all the noise, she is doing preschool for the first time. So I have to drive her and like hang out in town while she's doing preschool because it's a longer drive because we live in the country, and then hang out with her in the afternoon and then get ready for my 7-year-old to come on the bus. So it's like a big schedule. So I feel like I'm going back and forth between like not reading at all and then like picking up something new instead of continuing things. So the readathon, I finished one book, the one I was reading at Sprints on Saturday. So when we had it, and then I've picked up like 4 things and just been picking at them.
That's pretty good. I think having things on the go at least is still very good.
Yeah.
And for me, I finished 3 books now, and they've been reasonably short ones, which is good. But I'm reading a bit of a longer one this time around. And I mean, it's longer, it's middle grade, but yeah, see how it goes.
Did you finish Did you finish the Firefly one you were reading while we were sprinting?
Yes, I did. I finished A Flash of Fireflies, so it's here. Flash of Fireflies is a middle grade one with OCD representation that was magical realism to represent the OCD. And I mentioned in the sprints that I was like, I don't know. But by the end of it, I was like, this is actually really good. I got over my not sure how I feel about magical realism and was like really touched by the ending. So
great.
Recommend.
The cover is really pretty, but it's probably the UK cover, right?
I think it's the UK cover. I'm not sure if it's the cover everywhere.
Because it's really pretty. But I feel like you guys have better covers than we do.
I mean, I don't want to be like Team UK, but I do usually prefer UK covers, but sometimes the US ones do win me over. Sometimes US ones can be better as well.
Especially the middle grade ones. I feel like the UK covers often have the foiling on it. And I am like a sucker for a shiny book. Like, it's a foil on a book, and I'm like, yes, I want to get that book.
I really like the sprayed edges. And I don't know who does that more, UK or US.
I don't know, because they do them a lot on the specialty stuff in the US. I don't get very many with sprayed edges because it's like I don't get a lot of hardcovers. And I feel like hardcovers are the ones that have the sprayed edges most of the time.
Yeah. I think more paperbacks need to have sprayed edges. But yes, let us know if you tend to prefer UK or US covers. We have some hellos. Hi, Lizzie. You're welcome, even if you're not reading middle grade. Those are 3 books, so that's a lot of choice. But Kelly is also a multi-reader.
Yeah.
Hello. Oh, great. I hope the event that you're doing tomorrow goes well and that these sprints will be productive for you. Welcome, welcome. This is one of the Disney retelling ones, I think.
Yeah, I see those everywhere, but I've never heard anybody review them, so I don't know if I want to try one or not.
I don't know either. I always feel a bit strange when it's like film first and then book, but I guess sometimes it can be good.
Yeah.
That is fair. That is fair. Sometimes with adult like romance books, I do prefer the US covers. I think like with Emily Henry, she has nicer US covers. But yeah, can be hit or miss. What are you going to be reading this time around?
Well, I've got a few things I'll choose between. Since last what I don't know where my camera is. There we go. I have The War That Saved My Life, but then I also feel like I should read. I started The Legend of Skeleton Man, but it's already kind of freaky, so I think that this needs to be a daytime book because I started it last night and I was like, nope, nope, nope. Like, there's like really creepy skeleton man thing going on, so I was like, maybe I'll just read that during the day. So I feel like I should read that one while it's daylight. So I should do that now and save The War That Saved My Life for tonight.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And I'm going to continue reading. I started it this morning, The Last Bear by Hannah Gold, which is middle grade. And it's about this child and the father who go to an island called Bear Island, where there's supposed to be no more bears. And it turns out she thinks there's one last polar bear. So I think it's got a lot of like climate change talk involved in it. So
that's very timely.
Yes, very timely. Okay, yeah, so it takes a twist on the Disney stories. Hopefully this will be one that's a good one.
Yeah. Maybe I should try get somebody that's read a few and ask for the recommendation to see which ones are the good ones. Because I know they're written by different authors, so I'm sure it varies quite a bit.
That is fair. That is fair. Shall we start with our first reading sprint?
Yeah. Sure.
And just warm ourselves up with a 20-minute warm-up?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I disappear from screen, it's probably because I'm dealing with this one. So
sounds good. Let's read until, this is where I always have to do a bit of maths. Oh, we can read until the hour, till 8 p.m. British Standard Time. So on the hour. See you all then.
All right.
that's the end of the very first sprint. How did it go for everyone, but also for you?
Really good. I'm enjoying this. Like, she's my daughter's drawing, so she let me read, and I'm really glad I'm reading this in the day because it is getting scary, even though I'm at the beginning. But what I really love about this, I don't know if you've heard of Joseph Bruchek. He is an Indigenous author, and his intro is really interesting. Like, he's talking about how, because this is a horror book for children, and talking about in Native American cultures that scary stories are common, but they're not just meant to terrify, they're also like meant to inform and empower. And that he purposely chose a female protagonist, like a young girl, to be the protagonist, because that, like, in northeastern Native cultures, they view girls and women as being just as strong as men, and that that in like Native American stories, women are often brave protagonists. They save themselves from danger, quite the opposite of European tales of damsels in distress. So I just really liked his like intro about that. So I'm enjoying it so far. Like,
yeah, it sounds so good.
Yeah, so and the writing is really compelling, and like nothing is like really happening yet, but like it's just very ominously written. So it's already like feeling ominous even at the beginning.
Oh, great. I'm going to look forward to seeing what you think of that by the end, because it might be one on my TBR. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. We are still under a heat advisory here, so I apologize if you can hear the fan in the background. But yeah, how are you guys doing? How's the sprint going?
Good. Olivia Savannah was about to say how she was doing.
Yes, we just had our first like warm-up sprint, which was 20 minutes, and I read 50 pages of The Last Bear. I sometimes forget how quick middle grade can go when you get in the flow of it. And there was some talk of A Midnight Sun, which made me think about Twilight, which is not appropriate.
No bears in that.
It has illustrations in it, which are really nice. I don't know if I'm going to be able to effectively show it because the spine's quite. There we go.
Yeah.
My illustrations, which are really nice. But yes, for future sprints, what are you thinking of reading, Cara? And do you want to introduce yourself as well? Sure.
So, hi everyone. My name is Kara. My channel is Wild Book Garden. Obviously, big fan of middle grade. That's why I started this readathon. And I read a lot of different things. That's something that's really important to me. And I also read a lot of books at once. So the book that I think I'm going to be focusing on, I did actually make progress from the last sprints we did, because I did finish The Ogress and the Orphans. So now I am reading the book Wanderers. This always frustrates me. Like, in the UK and in the US, the title and the series are different things. So I think the US title is just the book Wanderers, but I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. I think in the UK it's like Tilly and the Book Wanderers.
Yeah, so. Tilly and the Book Wanderers, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm only a few chapters into it, but I'm really liking it so far. And I'm finally reading it after meaning to read it for ages.
That's good. I've been meaning to read that one too, so hopefully it'll be great.
Yeah, I bought it and mean to read it, but I was trying to make sure I read the like children's books that it was based off of, but like I've read them now and I still haven't watched it. Are you trying to show your picture?
Oh, that's a nice picture.
One.
Worthy of being some of the illustrations in the book.
Yeah.
Let's see how about some other people. Lizzie, I know how fast you can read, so in the next reading sprint, blaze through those pages, but Animal Crossing is always welcome. Huge fan of Animal Crossing. Do either of you two game or not as much?
There's a couple games I play, and Animal Crossing is one of them. I haven't played in a while, but I enjoy it a lot. Very
soothing game.
Yes.
Oh, I think this is in reference to your book, Kelly.
What'd they say? Oh.
That it sounds really good.
Oh, yeah. She just threw my book on the floor. You need to learn respect for the books.
We're big fans of books here.
Yeah.
Oh, Brendo Lives, the sequel to Clown in a Cornfield, if I'm correct. I hope it will be a good sequel, and good job on finishing all that event prep. I hope it goes well tomorrow. And hello, welcome. We are doing reading sprint, so feel free to join us for some reading. But also, how was the end of the book you were reading before, the Ogres one?
It was good. I think it was one of those cases, and I know that a lot of times authors don't write the synopsis for their books. It was one of those cases where I think the synopsis did the book a disservice at the beginning. Like, I ended up really liking it, but the way the synopsis was worded made it sound like a big thing that happens is going to be like the inciting incident for the beginning of the book, and it doesn't happen until like 200 plus pages. And so I was like waiting for this big thing to happen so that we could like deal with it. And it wasn't happening. And then once we finally got to that part and like, I don't know, the fallout from that, I ended up really liking it. And I really like her writing, and I love the themes about like community and stories and all of that. So it was mainly just like, I thought a lot more of the book was going to be about after this thing happens. And that's not, I'm being vague because of spoilers, but like, yeah, it's one of those cases where it's like, I think the synopsis should have been written differently. Like, I don't know. Not that it's like a big spoiler, because the thing that happens is not like a huge shocking twist. I just think putting it in the synopsis makes it feel like it's going to happen right away. And it didn't. And so I was frustrated for the first part of the book, but I ended up really liking it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm glad you ended up liking it, because that's one that I had paused. So I read it back in like March when it first came out. But like I was like at the beginning, it just is so slice of life, and like just kind of you're following the orphans, you're following the ogress, and I'm like, nothing's happening.
Yeah.
So now I know I just need to like hold out and things will eventually happen. It just seemed to be, it was a long book, and it just seemed to be kind of taking a while to get there.
Yeah, and I think one of the things about it that I specifically found frustrating is we spent so long on the things getting worse part, whereas I thought it was going to be kind of split between, I don't know, like the town getting worse and then the town getting better, and that doesn't really happen. Like, I like the way that it plays out at the end, but it's like we spent 200 pages like just watching everything fall apart, and I was like, that is not the impression I got from the description. But I ended up really liking it, and I took a picture of a quote because and we know that I'm not good about saving quotes, but I really like the writing and the themes, and there were a lot of really emotional parts. But for whatever reason, the part that actually like made me like tear up a little bit was they remembered that a story in the mind of the reader is like music, and discussing stories among other minds and other hearts feels like a symphony. I just thought that was really beautiful. I'm like, booktube. Yeah.
That is a beautiful quote. I've been loving things that take music as an inspiration lately, or just compare things to music. I really like music, so that makes sense, but it still can be worded so nicely.
Yeah.
Welcome. Yes,
Wow.
We've already established you can read not middle grade in these sprints as well. That is a hefty book to be reading.
Yes.
And so I think we're going to do our next sprints soon, but I did want to throw out a question, which is kind of middle grade related, which is, what children's film have you really enjoyed lately, or like children's TV series if you've watched one recently?
Well, in this house, we're obsessed with Encanto.
I was gonna say that.
We just got Disney Plus again. We had, we kind of switched through the streaming system, and we just got Disney Plus back like in June or July, and we've probably watched Encanto. We're at the point where I might be getting tired of it, because I'm pretty sure that I've seen it all the way through 3 times in that time, and then I would say the kids have seen it 10 times the last few months. Like, my older daughter, my 7-year-old, that's all she wants to watch, and we listen to Encanto every day, like the music too. I do like the themes, like the family themes, and like generational trauma and all that stuff. And the music's amazing. What?
Yeah. I think any movie, it's like you could get to a point where you're like, I'm ready to take a break, like even if you enjoy it.
That happens.
Yeah, I am ready to take a break, but I do think it's really good if you just watch it once. It's really amazing, even like the second or third time, but maybe stop at that point.
Just watch some other stuff, come back to it.
Kids just have like, I don't know, like if you guys have had that experience, but kids just like want to watch the same thing over and over and over again. And I'm like, this thing is so good, but I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, can we stop?
Yeah, Frozen and the Lego movie, those two came out at points where I was either au pairing or really working with kids. And they had the opposite effect. Like, I watched Frozen the first time and I wasn't a fan. And then I watched it multiple times and my dislike like grew stronger the more I was made to watch it. But the Lego movie, I watched it the first time and I was like, this is okay. And then the more I watched it, and actually the more I heard everything is awesome, the more my enjoyment went up each time.
Did you watch the Lego Batman one?
I have not yet, but I really need to.
It's so funny. It's like, because I'm not a big like comic book person, so like the way that it like gently pokes fun at the like angsty superhero tropes, I think is hilarious. Like, and like Will Arnett doing his Batman voice for the whole movie is just like, it's really funny. I am excited for you to see it.
Batman is also my favorite superhero, so I'm all ready for the like jokes and fun about it too.
Yeah, I think you're gonna enjoy it.
Were you going to say Encanto as well as your answer to the question?
I was. So now I have to think, like, because I don't really watch a lot of TV or movies in general.
Or like a classic favorite. Doesn't have to be recent.
Oh, okay. Okay, a classic favorite. Well, okay, this is not a classic, but it would probably... It's one of the ones I always think of if I think of, like, my favorite, like, Disney or animated movie, is Coco. I love that movie so much. But it's one of those where like it's such an emotional experience that I don't like watch it all the time, you know? It's like I can't put myself through that too often, but I love it. I love the story. I love the animation and again like the themes and everything. It's one of those movies where like the first time I watched it, I was like really enjoying it. I was like, I don't really get why it's called Coco though. And then like the last 25 minutes of the movie, I'm just like sobbing and I'm like, I understand now. But I love it.
I needed to see that one. Like, it sounds so good. I need to just watch it on my own because we started watching it with my 7-year-old and she got scared, which totally makes sense because I mean, there's skeletons.
Yes.
And things like that. So I get why she was scared. But like now I'm like, oh, I need to watch it. I just need to like watch it myself.
Yeah.
And load it. It'll be fine.
I think you'll enjoy it. It's really good. And of course there's a lot of like funny parts as well. It's not all like emotional. But yeah, and I love like the family stuff and it's such a good one.
I love it too. I really loved it. I feel like with the later kids films, I've been struggling, but that one was one of the more recent ones that I really liked as well. Oh, that's really sweet. Have they seen Coco? Are they old enough to see Coco? That is also a question. I have not seen Frozen 2. Have either of you seen Frozen 2?
I have. There were things I really liked about it, but I don't know. I didn't like love it, but it was better than I expected, I think, because sometimes like sequels of like big animation movies, I don't know what it is about them, but like sometimes it can feel like, why was this necessary? Like, why did we have to have more story? But I feel like it actually made sense for that one. And I did really like some of the things that happened. So
I saw it like, I don't remember when. I know my daughter saw it in theaters with my husband, but I was with my little one because she wasn't old enough to go to the theaters, or at least not able to sit through it. So I know I saw it when it came out like later on streaming, but I've only seen it once, so I don't really remember much.
Me too. I wonder if I would have like more articulate thoughts on it if I saw it again, probably. But yeah, I remember like I was glad I saw it. Like, I know some people really hated it, and I did not.
Okay. That's fair. Nightmare Before Christmas.
Tangled. Tangled's a good one. That's my mom's favorite. I've like gotten her the Funko Pops of the characters. Like, that's how much she loves it.
Oh, wow.
I love Tangled. Love the horse.
Yeah, that's my mom's favorite character.
Yeah, I mean, the horse is great.
He's
What's
great.
his name? Maximus?
Maximus. Yeah, Maximus. Yeah.
I love Tangled as well, except for that was another one that my daughter was scared at, and I'm like, she just is scared at a lot of, like, she's definitely one of those people that visually she's scared of things a lot more than like reading stuff.
Yeah.
And so, like, do you know how many movies we've started and stopped? Like Lion King, as soon as like the big scene happened, we had to turn it off, and I was like, okay, probably good, because that gets even more scary at the end of that one.
Yeah.
So I was like,
to be fair, I have not watched Lion King for probably more than 10 or 15 years because I don't like that part either. I mean, not like scary, just because it's sad. But yeah, I feel that. Yeah, it's weird because there were some movies I watched as a kid, because like I definitely as a kid was, yes, there were some things I would just watch like 100 times rather than watching something new. And one of the movies that really scared me was Sleeping Beauty. Like Maleficent just really scared me when I was little. But for some reason, I loved watching Dumbo. And I'm like, why? There's like arguably a lot more scary things that happened in Dumbo. Like, I don't understand that. But my parents insist that I loved Dumbo when I was a kid, which is weird because I think it's one of my least favorites. Like, as soon as I was old enough to have favorites and least favorites, I was like, I don't like Dumbo. So, I don't know.
One of my other recent favorites is Brave. I haven't seen it that much, but like my husband and I just rewatched it like a few weeks ago, and I was like, yeah, still really enjoy that one. I think it's because it's like one of the ones where she's not like trying to get a prince and getting married. Like, the whole point is that she doesn't want to be like married off. So
yeah,
I like
that one stressed me out the first time I watched it. Like, in a good way. It was well done. I was very invested in it. And I was like, it's a Disney movie. I'm like, I'm pretty sure they're not going to actually do this thing. I'm like, we're getting really close though. It was a very narrow escape. I'm not spoiling it in case people haven't seen it, but
heightening the tension. I feel like on the opposite spectrum, when I was younger, the one that we watched again and again and again, all of our sisters, was The Little Mermaid, which arguably doesn't have the best morals to it, but I just wanted to be a mermaid and have my hair float around aesthetically in the water behind me. That's all I wanted.
Yeah. I could never understand Ariel not wanting to be a mermaid. Like, I didn't like the story of the second one as much, but the idea I understood a lot better. I'm like, yes, I would want to be a mermaid.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes more sense to me than Ariel.
But yes, with that, shall we head into our next reading sprints? Sure. And maybe go for 30 minutes if you guys are up for reading for a bit longer?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we'll be going until 10:02. And I hope reading goes well. And that's the end of our second sprint. How did it go?
Sorry, I was just like, I didn't see the time, but I just finished a chapter, and I just one of those moments where I was like, oh gosh, like there's some stuff, and it's not even like that creepy. It's also just like, you know, when a child's obviously in danger and the adults in their life are siding with the like adult that is scaring the child instead of listening to the kid, and that's what's happening. Like she, you know, her parent, like this isn't a spoiler because it's on the back, her parents disappeared and social services sent her to live with her uncle that she's never met, and like it's just very like ominous, his house and the thing, like things he does and all that stuff. And when she tells like the adults, like she even tells them something that gets their attention and sends social services there, but you know they have to warn the person that they're coming, and so he like changes things, and so then they all believe him instead of believing her, and it's just like, oh gosh, like, so it's like not even a monster, it's like just like, you know, people believing other adults instead of listening to kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, which can be even scarier sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do want to read that one. Sounds scary, but good.
Yeah. I mean, so far it's not like scary, like, I mean, I don't know. Worse, I'm still only, like 58 pages in. So I don't know if there's going to actually be things that would like most people call scary, but it's definitely like that ominous feeling, like you are like, what's going on? Like this girl's in a situation that's not good, you know, like it's that kind of scary. So not like graphic scary if you don't like horror.
Right. Yeah, and I know it's like middle grade creepiness I can usually do more because it's enjoyable creepy, because it's not going to be like super gory or anything. So
how about you? How did it go for you, Cara?
it went well. I'm almost 100 pages in because it reads very quickly, and I think she's just started figuring out that she actually is meeting the characters from books and like going into books and everything. I think we've just met like the antagonist, so that's going to be interesting. Yeah, I'm really liking it. I do think like, so the two characters that she's met so far are Alice in Wonderland and Anne of Green Gables, and I do feel like maybe, I don't know, I feel like it was a hard thing. Like the author gave herself a really hard job because she picked two characters who have such a distinct way of speaking. But I think that's getting a lot better as we go. Like the first couple times we met them, it's just hard when they have like such a like an iconic, I don't know, personality and everything. But I think that that's getting better as we go. Like, and it wasn't bad at the beginning. It's just like I noticed that, but I'm really liking it. And she's made friends with another character, and I really like their friendship, and he's now at the point where I think he's starting to believe her, which is always nice, you know, that she's meeting characters. So yeah, it's going really well. I like it a lot so far.
I'm very curious if it spoils stories or if it manages to not do that.
That's actually one of the reasons that it took me a while to read this one, is because I heard that A Little Princess is another one of the books in here, and I hadn't read that one yet. So far, I don't think there's been any actual spoilers, but I also wanted to make sure I had read all of them. And something I think is really cool, and I didn't know until I started reading it, is like in the end papers, there's like all of these different like pages from books, and all of these, some of them are doubled, but every page on here, you can tell it's from one of the books that is actually like in the story, which is a fun touch, but it also means you can know if you want to read any of them. So it doesn't spoil you, which I think is really cool. So Alice in Wonderland, Anne of Green Gables, and I think The Little Princess are the only ones that I see here so far. So I assume those are the only ones that are going to be in here, but I like that. It's like a fun design thing, but it also makes it easy for you to not get spoiled if that's something you're concerned about.
That's nice. Yeah. I've got the paperback, so I don't know if I have those in papers, but I like that.
Yeah, hopefully they have something like that. That'd be good.
And yeah, I think it might be a stretch to say I'll finish in the next sprints, but there's only 80 pages left. And
I
it's
think you
really, really good. I really like it. I just hope that the parent steps up, because there is a bit of an absent parent in this one, which I can understand why. She's about to do something dangerous. I'm like, please, just parent.
Yeah.
And let's see how other people are doing. Oh, if you've just joined us, hello, welcome. Hotspot, okay. Hope you enjoy your reread. Rereads are very comforting, especially now with the seasons changing, getting into autumn vibes. I hope this will help you with reading procrastination. I've been the exact opposite. I don't know what's been happening this month, but I've just been like, all I want to do is read, and I don't want to do anything else.
That is great, but also not. It's great for reading productivity and less good for other parts of life.
Yeah. We have some procrastination happening. Maybe third time is the charm. Oh no. When you say it's not going well, which book are you reading? And do you mean the book is not a good book, or that the reading it by Monday is going to be a struggle? Because that could be two different things. Progress is progress.
Yeah.
15 pages is still good. Especially if you were just doing another readathon. I'm following on from that. I'm still trying to decide if after this I should just, because I know Sunday is technically the official end to the readathon, but after this I've still got 2 prompts to read for, and I'm like, should I just extend it? Or...
I mean, that's what I'm doing. I even said in my announcement, and I think a couple of us did actually, I'm basically picking books for the whole month of September. I think it's good for people who don't like long readathons that we have a set end date, but I'm going to keep reading my books for the whole month, if that helps. You could do a bonus.
A couple bonus days.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep going, because a lot of them were ones I wanted to read anyways, for because I'm also doing the sequel series September, so some of them fit with that. So I'm just probably gonna start also slipping in adult books come Monday. I'll probably do both. But there's still ones that I want to read, because this is actually 2 books in one, and I want to make sure I read that, so I finish the whole duology. And when I finish this one, I think I'm just going to go ahead and pick up the second one too. So I'm trying to do better of actually continuing series right away, so we'll see how that goes.
How are you liking The War That Saved My Life?
I'm really liking it. I'm about a third of the way through, and it's reading super fast. I think I really like her writing style. I sat down and read this twice, and I'm already 150 pages in. So I think it just it flows really well. I mean, it was hard at the beginning because there's child abuse at the beginning, and that was really hard to read. But now it's better situation. Things are easier to read.
I remember that I appreciated that she got out of that so fast. It's you definitely get you get plenty of information to know what it was like for her and how horrible her mother is, but it doesn't dwell on it. The main story is about afterwards.
Yeah, because if that was the whole book, I think it would be really hard to be with that the whole time. So I'm glad that the point was that she gets away from it. But yeah, I've never read anything by her, and I know she's a really popular author who's won awards and stuff, and I just haven't read her stuff, and so I'm excited. I heard that you liked the second one better, so I think I would just go ahead and finish it off.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the first one, but the second one is, I think, even better. Yeah, I thought it was really good. I don't understand, because she is so popular and she's won so many awards, I don't understand why they haven't reprinted her older books.
Yeah,
Jeff's son, is impossible to find. And there's like a few other books she wrote that are like out of print. And I don't understand how these decisions get made, but how has nobody, I'm sure it's related to like copyright or something, but it happens with other authors. It's like, somebody get on this.
Yeah.
So
Did you ask what author it was?
Yeah.
It's Kimberly Brubaker Bradley. And like, yeah, Jefferson's Sons is also a really popular book from the people I know that have read it, but it's out of print now. And
yeah,
so
like I was lucky my library had a copy, so I was able to read it. But it's like there's not even an ebook copy. Like you literally can't get a hold of this book unless your library happens to have it, or you find it at like a Goodwill or something. Like, yeah, just frustrating.
That is frustrating. I was looking through my like books that I've read before that I want to try and get, because when I was in Australia, I used the library because I was in a foreign country for a long time, and I realized that so much of the Australian books you just can't get them outside of Australia, and I was like, this is so sad because I can't read these other ones that I also added to my TBR list. And I've been looking at like trying to find ebooks. Sometimes you can't even do it, and it's just a bit frustrating.
Oh, that is tough.
Have you looked at either like Blackwell's or Book Depository? Like I don't love using Book Depository since Amazon owns them now, but like there are some things that like they're only available through there, you know?
I did look at Blackwell's, but I didn't look at Book Depository. I haven't been on there for a while, so I should probably check that out, because maybe that could have copies. I even looked at the bookshops that I usually buy from in the Netherlands, just in case it was a case of like outside of the UK they could have some, but yeah.
I did not know that Book Depository was now owned by Amazon.
Yeah. It's why
gosh.
it's why I try. I know. It's like 80% of our world is owned by Amazon, feels like. Yeah, and obviously like not everybody has the option of not using Amazon, and I totally understand that, but I have been trying to like almost everything, any like UK edition or books that are only published in the UK, or a couple from Australia, I think maybe. I'm not sure on that. But Blackwell's has had almost all of them, and they have free shipping to the US and to a lot of other countries, I think, as well. So I feel like they're a pretty good alternative so far. And they're an indie bookstore, which is very cool.
Yeah. Blackwell's are amazing.
Yeah, I love them.
I'm using their books.
Anna, who introduced me to them, so.
I'll have to check them out, because there's sometimes I want to get the UK cover for something, and so I used to do Book Depository, but now I'm like, well, I'll have to check out Blackwell.
Yeah. Yes, Waypoint Books is also a good one.
Yes.
Which Hannah, at Let It runs. I've ordered from them as well. They're great.
I like the shout out of some very nice indie bookshops. Okay, that's fair. I've seen the cover of this one around, but I actually haven't heard that many thoughts about it at all. Oh, yay. It looks like there's been a bit of a slow reading mood for a lot of people lately. I'm glad we're doing some sprints to help out with that. Just trying to think, how many more do we want to do? Do we want to do one more, two more sprints? How are we feeling?
I mean, Olivia Savannah, it's later for you, so I think whatever. Like, what do you think sounds good? Or Kelly, I know that you have a lot of stuff going on too.
Well, I'm gonna actually. The school bus will show up like in the next few minutes, so I'm actually gonna probably need to head out, and it'll just depend on whether they are going to go and like play together, or if they're going to require me to like do stuff with them, the kids. So sometimes they just go off and play together, and other times it's like chaos. So I don't know.
Yeah, feel free to hop in if you are able to join us, but if not, it's been great to have you. I definitely want to finish this book, so there'll definitely be one more sprint, and then maybe after that I'll see how tired I am.
We can sprint until Olivia Savannah finishes her book. That's the next.
Very me focused. But yeah, it's a good book, so that is good.
Yeah. You've had some hits so far this month.
Yeah, I think other than Enola Holmes, which I just thought was okay, basically everything I've read throughout this readathon has been good. I also read The Deepest Breath, which is a novel in verse middle grade one, and it was very, very sweet and great.
I read that last year and I liked it. Like now I don't really remember much about it, but I just remember the time thinking, oh, this is a nice book and something I would like definitely give to a kid to read or whatever.
Yeah, I feel like it was one of those, like, I know middle grade you can read it at whatever age, but it was also one of the ones where I thought if I was a child who got this, I would appreciate it a lot more as a child reading it than an adult. And I was just very glad that it exists for that representation, because middle grade, it can be hit or miss with LGBT plus representation in it. So that was nice.
Yeah. And I can't remember exactly, but I didn't feel like it wasn't really like a coming out story, was it? It was more just kind of like dealing with day-to-day life and stuff like that within LGBT. Like that's what I'm remembering. I don't know for sure. So I feel like it was just kind of nice to just have it just be there.
There was a bit of like trying to figure out what her feelings were and such, but it was also quite a lot of like everyday life, which I didn't expect from the synopsis. And that's why in the beginning I was a bit like, this is interesting. It's not quite what I expected, but yeah, still really nice.
Yeah.
But yes, I think after a readathon, sometimes you can go for a bit of a book hangover and need a bit of a break.
Yeah, everything I've been reading for this so far, I'm really enjoying. Like I've only finished the last one, the Small Spaces Quartet, but I really liked that one. And then like I'm enjoying the one I read today. I'm liking The War That Saved My Life, and I'm also rereading Amari and the Night Brothers, which I know I love. So like everything is like good stuff.
Yeah, I am determined to get to Amari this month sometime. Like I have to. I know I'm gonna love it.
I really want to read that. Sounds so good.
Yeah.
It is.
I even like, I'm so sure I'm gonna love it that I even thought about getting the second book, and I'm like, just read the first one or at least start it, and then you can order the second book, like, because it just came out, and I was like, first week sales, thinking about that. But
yeah, I'm trying to get better at reading one book in the series that I own before. I mean, I'm not getting anything at the moment because of a buying ban, but
I saw your video and I'm like, I should do that
too. Join me. We can do it together.
I just like am out of room. Like we don't have a huge house, and right now so many of my books are in my closet, like just like stacked up, and I'm like, what is the point of this when it's all like shoved in my closet? Like why am I buying more books when I've got all these on my shelf that I haven't read yet?
Yeah.
So I should join you.
I think my trouble is that I don't always do super well with like all or nothing kind of things. Like I'm still trying to figure out a way that I can like limit my buying without feeling like, because the problem is then if I mess up and I'm like, oh, I bought some books, then I would be like, well, it doesn't matter. I already failed, so I can do what I want. And it's like, that's not how it's supposed to work. But I do think just tracking. It's a what?
It's like working out, right? You're like, I'm going to work out every day. And then you're like, I missed one. Oh, I'm done working out forever. It's like,
yeah, it's like 2 speeds. I do think like just recording, like numerically tracking how many books in and out, I think has affected my buying habits. I think it's made me buy fewer books, but I still feel like there's more I could do. I need to work. I've just gotten lazy about book hauls, which also means there's not as much accountability, and that's a problem for me. So I'm working on it.
I'm gonna go catch the bus. So I'm gonna take my camera off, but we'll see if I come back.
Okay.
See you. And I hope you can get a copy of the first one, Anne, and then that you'll love the first one so much that you're very excited to get to the second one. Anne works in a bookshop, so fellow bookseller.
Yeah.
Yes. Shall we do another sprint? I'm going to grab my cozy. It's getting cold here now, which also contributes probably to why I'm reading more.
Yes. Like cold weather is such perfect reading weather. Cold or rainy, I love it.
It is raining outside as well, so it's very much peak reading weather. Like I do prefer reading outside in the park in summer, but as soon as it gets cold, I'm like, I don't want to leave my flat, so I might as well just read here.
I am not a like read outside person usually. Sometimes, like the last couple days, I have a little bit when it finally started getting cooler outside, because it was actually cooler than inside my house. That's how hot it's been. So occasionally, when it's really nice outside, I will. But overall, I'm a read inside kind of girl.
That makes sense. I know that at one point my reading outside got tested when I had a day where I got pooped on like twice by birds, like over the benches. So as soon as I get pooped on, I always move bench, even though that doesn't, with the odds, change anything.
I know.
I moved twice, and I was like, I'm not winning here.
Yeah. Was that in a reading vlog? I feel like I remember you talking about that.
I think it might have happened in one of my like reading challenges, and I was
Or
just
something, yeah.
But hello, we shall read. So we do another 30-minute one.
Let's do it.
Yes. Oh, you're reading outside. Yes, love that. Okay. So we'll be reading until 40.
Yes.
And there is the end of that reading sprint. I hope you all managed to get some reading done. Hello, if you recently joined us throughout those sprints. Just as a pop-in to explain, a reading sprint is a period of time where we just all read together and just read for about 30 minutes all together so that we can really focus and get in on it. So how did that reading sprint go for everyone, but also for you, Cara?
It was good. I'm almost halfway done with the book, and we're at the explanations part. Yay, Kelly's back. Perfect timing. How did your parenting sprint go, Kelly?
Oh, yeah. Well, the bus was late, so I was able to read while I was waiting for a little while. But yeah, good. I have my younger one still outside, so if I'm like craning, I'm watching for her.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, you made it halfway. Sorry, were you going to say more?
Oh, just that, we're like at the like explanation part where we're finding out more about book wandering. Continuing to really enjoy it. It's reading very quickly, like I was talking about before, and obviously I like all the stuff about books and being able to talk to book characters and traveling into books and everything. I'm a little unsure now about like what the main conflict is going to be, because I thought I knew what it was and maybe I don't, so that's interesting. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's good. And I don't want to read the synopsis again in case in case I can just like see where it goes and not know.
Have some mystery elements to it.
Yeah.
And I finished.
You did.
It was very, very good. I really, really recommend it. It was really lovely, the message. And I read the acknowledgements, which I always like doing as well when I finish a book.
I'm always surprised when people don't read like the author's note or acknowledgements. Like, I guess if it was like really, really long and it was a book I really didn't like, maybe I wouldn't. But it's like I feel like that's part of the book,
Yeah.
Especially the author's note, because that usually talks about like if they had reasoning behind why they chose, or if it was like related to myth or folklore or something. Like it's
like there have been times, like not that I think like that could totally change how you're supposed to feel about a book or anything, but there have definitely been times where I read something in the acknowledgements or in the author's note that like changed how I viewed some of it,
Definitely. Especially books with messages to them. You can like see where that originated, and it's so emotional.
Or like historical fiction or something, if it talks about where they got the idea and stuff. Like
seeing how he did. Dinner is very important. That is absolutely fantastic. That is so good. I hope the book Riordan is good. I really need to read more than just the Percy Jackson series at some point.
That's trash. Can you keep it outside?
8%. That's good. That's good progress.
I'm trying to remember if I read the first one of the Apollo, but technically it's kind of related to the Percy Jackson, like because a lot of characters are from both Heroes of Olympus and Percy Jackson show up in that one, and it takes at Camp Half-Bloods. So I don't know, does that count as going outside of Percy Jackson? Because it's not the main character.
True. It is its own series from what I've heard, because I have not read it, but I know it's kind of set in the same world, continuing on.
And I would imagine that it would spoil some of the other books if you haven't read them, because I haven't read Apollo either, but I've read the main Percy Jackson series and the Heroes of Olympus series, and one of the Magnus Chase books.
Magnus Chase is that also connected?
Well, it's like it's weird because they mention a couple characters, like it happens in the same world, but it's not like as connected as like Heroes of Olympus and Percy Jackson are. I don't know if the later books overlap more, but like you hear about Annabeth, for example. But yeah, it's at least in the first one, it wasn't like super related.
That makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah. Speaking of books, my mom just texted me, "What's the name of the book with the two dogs that die? One sitting on the other's grave." And I was like, I remember which one that was. It was super sad. We read it in school. Like
That
half
does
the
sound
class
sad.
was crying.
Oh gosh.
She must have been talking to somebody about it.
I feel like the school books, they pick the ones that are like crying books.
Yes. Like
about
what
animals
is
dying. Like, why are you making them read all the like animal dying books?
Yeah. Like really, what is this a concerted effort to expose us to this? Like why
Yeah.
why is that the theme? Yeah, I know.
I remember reading Bridge to Terabithia in school, and it was just like, okay, wreck us all.
That one is rough. Like I have not reread that since I was a kid because like I don't need to experience that again.
Yeah.
Did I reread that? I can't remember now if I've reread it since childhood. I know I own it and I've been meaning to like read it.
Yeah.
That's
I'll be
emotional.
interested to hear what you think.
Yeah, because like some of those are like scarred in my brain, like Where the Red Fern Grows.
Yes.
And some of these that I'm like, I just remember it feeling so tragic as a kid that I don't know if I would still feel like that level of tragedy, or because like as a child you're just getting introduced to those themes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was just telling you how I still haven't rewatched Lion King, so I don't know. Maybe it's still be effective.
Also, I'm very excited to hear that you're reading Alexis Hall, Anne. I hope you're loving it. I can't remember if this is your first one or not, but hope it's good.
Is Alexis Hall, is that the one that wrote boyfriend material?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, because I loved boyfriend material. So try more.
Yes. The sequel, Husband Material, came out a few weeks ago, I think. So if you want more boyfriend material, there's definitely more of that. Yay, more pages. I was thinking that we could do one more closing sprint. If you're both up for it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to decide what I should read next. I've got the Monsters of Brookhaven or the Jumbies. If either of you have read either of those two and like say one of them is the best one.
It was the Jumbies, and what was the other one?
The Monsters of Brookhaven.
Oh, I haven't read that one yet, but I want to. I did read the Jumbies, and I liked it. I've heard the other books in the series are even better, though, so I don't know if that helps at all. But yeah, I did like that. I read that a while ago.
I haven't read either of them, so can't help.
Some like creepy ones. Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
And hello.
Yeah, I've been like reading the creepy books lately. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm ready. Even though it's not cold fall yet, I'm like ready. I'm ready for some creepy books.
It's like we can like summon colder weather by reading spooky books.
I have to admit, like in August, half of what I read was all creepy and gothic. I was already in the mood.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, middle grade for a bit, but I saved my 2 creepy middle grade for like now.
Yes. Yes. I'm hoping to read the last Small Spaces book that you just read, Kelly. I've been buddy reading that whole series with a friend, so I think we're planning to do that in October for like spooky season.
Well, I would suggest not reading at night, but I might be a wimp.
Good to know.
I was legitimately scared during the first half of that book. Well, actually, no, most of it. Like, I would say 3/4 of it, I was like, okay, I am like legitimately scared.
Yeah. There's some like creepy middle grade out there. They're very effective. Like,
I need to read more of it because I do like creepy books in general, but I haven't ventured that much into creepy middle grade. Hence why I'm like Jumbies or Monsters of Brookhaven to kind of get some creepiness in there.
This is my plug for Frances Harding again. I think you would really like her.
Middle grade?
She considers herself a children's author. A lot of her books are kind of crossover middle grade and YA. It's very confusing. I've seen her shelved all over the place. Nobody knows what to call her. but I think you could count her books as middle grade.
I kind of love that though. I love when
Yeah, I do
authors
too.
defy the boundaries that people love to put on them in terms of genre and age range and things like that.
Yeah, I do too. It's like sometimes I'll hear somebody review something and they're like, I don't feel like it was really sure about if it was like a young adult or a middle grade. And I'm like, really? I'm intrigued. Yeah, like I like that a lot too. I think especially if you want like the creepy stuff, I would recommend Verdigris Deep or Cuckoo Song. I feel like those are two of her extra creepy ones. Yeah, but one of my favorites of hers is Gullstruck Island, and then also A Face Like Glass. Which, like, I mean, pretty much all her books have some creepy elements to them, but
they do sound a bit dark.
Yeah,
I have Unraveler like looking at me from my shelf right now, making eye contact with me, like right here.
That's gonna be our book in. I think it's gonna be next month, maybe. I still need to read Deep Light for this month.
Exciting. We have some fans of the.
This is my life. You can't do anything with like adults, like because children will just like.
Children will be children. Very welcome here.
Yep. What do you? Hey, you.
And hello.
The Dawn Treader. Are you liking that?
What is it?
The Narnia books. Yeah, you like them? No, you're not going to talk now because.
She only talks when she wants to.
Okay, shall we do one more sprint and go from like 55 to 25? I always find it hard to do maths of time without a clock right in front of me.
Well, and it's like if I'm not on a live, it's fine, but suddenly just being in front of people, I'm like, what is a number? I don't understand.
We're here to read words, not numbers.
Not numbers. That's not what we do. Yeah.
But yeah, this will be our last reading sprint, so make it count, but definitely read at your own pace. And I'm not sure if there are other sprints happening before end of readathon that I should be plugging.
Right. As far as I know, we're not planning any others, but I know we were all talking about continuing to read middle grade throughout the month. So maybe we'll do kind of an unofficial middle grade one. I might try and do one of those. So yeah, keep an eye on like social media and our channels and like the Twitter account and everything, but no official plan.
Okay. I feel like Kelly might have a challenge with reading this time around.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute though. Okay, I think we might get started. Oh, there she goes. As we've got some people ready to go, and I'll see you in a bit. And there we go. That's the end of our last sprint. I hope it went well for everyone. How did it go?
It was good. Big dramatic thing just happened. Reveal. I'm probably going to try to finish that today. So, yeah, continuing to enjoy it. How did you guys do?
Oh no.
Good. I started the Jumbies. I went for that one. I read the first 50 pages. I think I mentioned in a voice note to you, which I don't know if you had the chance to listen to, but I've been mostly craving like the end of books more than the beginning. So
Yes.
I'm struggling a bit with like focusing on it, but read the beginning. But I really liked the dedication, which was to my children, Alyssa and Adam, without whom this book would have been finished years ago. And then continues to say, and to all the children of the Caribbean, no matter your age, see your fairy tales too, which I thought was really nice.
Yeah.
Which book was that? Sorry, I was distracted by crying.
It was The Jumbies by Tracy Baptiste.
I want to try that at some point because I think isn't the second one like mermaidish or something like that?
Yes, and I've heard that one is like even better because I liked the first one, but I didn't love it. It wasn't like a favorite, but I definitely want to continue the series.
I like the sound of mermaidy.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't looked into it obviously because I don't want to spoil the first, but the cover looks mermaidy.
I actually was gifted it. Let me see if I have my copy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, see that looks mermaidy. Looks cool.
Looks very
That
cool.
does look cool.
I have to try that. I did not get any reading done because, as you can probably tell, things were devolving into chaos. But they did end up playing together, and I made dinner. So I made black bean burgers, and so they're ready for the grill for later. So at least like that's prepped.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good productivity sprint.
Yes. Yes. That's good.
And the kids cleaned up their art. Mostly my 4-year-old. She like has decided scissors and tape are like her like favorite thing. And so like every day it's just like the entire like because we only have the only table we have is our kitchen table, like our dining table.
Yeah.
And so today it's like covered in bits of paper, tape, drawings, all kinds of things. Yeah.
Yep.
Fun. See some other productivity. That's a lot of blog posts to get through.
Wow, that's great.
Yes.
I thought
It's nice.
Oh, sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you. I was saying I thought in the past about trying to do a blog, but like I am so bad at writing reviews because I'm like, oh, I just finished it. I don't want to talk about it right now. And so I think I would fail at blogging.
Yeah. Yeah.
It can be tricky. I really enjoyed doing it for a while, but then I got used to talking about my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And now that's my preferred way of sharing my thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, nice to see other people enjoying dedications. I think they're kind of like acknowledgements and author's notes where not everybody reads them, but some people do.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually thinking about that recently. There's like some dedications that just like stick with you, you know?
Do you have like a favorite dedication?
Well, so like one of the ones that I always think about is the one for The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, where C.S. Lewis is like dedicating it to his goddaughter, Lucy, I think, or who inspired Lucy. And he's talking about how long it took for the book to be written. And then at the end, he says something about it took so long that you are now too old to read fairy tales. But I hope when you are old enough to begin reading them again, that you dust this one off and read it and remember your affectionate godfather, C.S. Lewis. Like, it's paraphrased, but I just really like that one. I think it's really funny and sweet. And I love the idea of when you're old enough to read fairy tales again. Very appropriate for middle grade magic. So
that is perfect for middle grade magic. I think I remember it vaguely because I was like, oh, the name connection.
Yeah.
And I do like that concept of like, I remember going through that phase where it's like, I'm too old for kid books.
Yeah.
It's like the high school through college phase. And then as I'm like getting older, I'm like, okay, I realize it's nice to return to children's books and like the hope and all the stuff in there. Sorry, my little one is being loud, so I'll mute again.
I think he has another line, and I don't remember if it's in one of his books or like some nonfiction he wrote or something, but he said something about like being a grown-up means leaving behind childish things, which includes like refusing to be a child or something like that. Like, it was just really interesting. It was like this idea of like part of being a mature person is not like turning your nose up at things that are good for young people, you know. I'm awful at paraphrasing quotes. I don't remember how he said it, but it was great.
I feel like I remember this as well, so I think you're doing a very good job that you're flashing me back to when I was reading these dedications. Nice to see that Derek Landy has some funny quotes. I can definitely...
Funny ones are good too.
They're very good. Also funny titles.
Yeah.
This makes me think of Artemis Fowl, and
Yes.
I miss those titles.
Yes.
I think that T. Kingfisher often puts funny dedications into, and like her like author, you know, like the info section always is really funny too.
Yes.
Like I just trying to remember, one was something like, I love sushi and hamsters, but not in the same way, or something like that. like your like author info is hilarious. She just is so funny.
There's actually, I haven't read this yet, but a novella by Kate Stradling. I like looked at the dedication and I loved it. It was something like, because it's a retelling of a particular fairy tale, and she's like, this one is dedicated to all the characters who can't communicate or something. Seriously, just talk to each other. Which I thought was funny.
I love that. Thank you very much. Obviously not a requirement, but thank you for joining. Thank you to everyone who stopped by and have been joining along with these sprints. It's been a lot of fun, especially to Kelly and Cara for taking time out of the middle of their day, because time zones, to come and join in.
Thank you for hosting it.
And I hope you all have a very good evening. Nice to see that everybody really likes reviews. And I mean, I think we're all fans of reviews here on BookTube in whichever form they come.
Yeah. I feel like there's always, it's like this recurring thing where it's like, nobody does reviews anymore on BookTube. And it's like, I don't think that's true. Like, it's a very specific kind of content, but it's... Also, yeah. Technically,
wrap-ups are like back-to-back reviews.
Yeah, wrap-ups are reviews too. Like, yeah. But I'm very impressed with people who can do written reviews that are helpful, like clearly summarized, and also like enjoyable to read. It's like my Goodreads reviews are usually just, here's all my thoughts and feelings in whatever order I decided to put them in. Have fun. Like, but it does help me when I do wrap-ups. What's that?
Like them too.
I like those reviews too.
Good. It does help me a lot when I do wrap-ups. Like, that has made a huge difference. I'm like, oh yeah, these are all the things that I had like specific thoughts about. But
I like different kinds of reviews. The only thing that makes me mad is when you're scrolling through Goodreads and somebody puts a spoiler in there's only one line that's visible, and you put the spoiler in the very first line. It's like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Like, just warn people, not put like, oh, this big twist that blah 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 in the very first line of your review. It just like, oh.
Yeah. My mom was talking to a friend at work about a book series that I guess they had both been reading, and her friend was like, oh yeah, I couldn't believe when her husband died in that plane crash or something. And my mom was like, I haven't gotten there yet. Like, they're not even married. I'm like, that is like a double massive spoiler. Like, and she felt like when my mom was telling me about it, it's like, yeah, she didn't seem to feel that bad about it. Like, she was like, oh, sorry, but I guess she didn't feel like it was that big of a deal. I'm like, I would have been so offended. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you assume, like, I have accidentally spoiled people for things before because I thought they'd already read something or whatever. Like, I think a lot of us have done that, but that's such a, like, an egregious example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my father-in-law is like that. Never, if I ever want to watch a movie, I never mention it to him because if he's seen it, he just is like, "Well, you're gonna love when this thing happens in the climax," and I'm like, okay, well, now I don't need to watch that movie." I'm like, I'm just not gonna talk to you about anything that I haven't already seen.
Yeah.
It's such a shame. It's such a shame. I feel like I've become very good at dodging spoilers online. Like if I see the word spoiler, my brain just like shuts down and doesn't look anymore. But in person spoilers, like there's nothing you can do. There's no dodging, no skill.
Yeah. And I know that people have different feelings about what they consider a spoiler, or I know some people who really like getting spoilers, but I would never assume that somebody was okay with that without asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely asking first policy.
Yes.
But yes, gonna wrap up now. And I hope you all have good evenings, days, or anywhere around the clock. And thank you for joining us. Oh, and there'll be links to Kelly and Cara's channel down below, so do check them out.
Thanks for hosting and
Yeah, thanks.
allowing me to have chaos.
Okay.
It was fun.
Sorry.
Bye.